guys, we're back for another episode. This time, keeping cleaning. Gonna be prepping some stuff for maybe some paint, maybe not. Maybe we'll get lucky and just be able to clean it up. We do have to paint the monitor mount bar, as well as kind of clean some other things up. We're gonna open up that subwoofer and check and see how that thing's doing. But we're gonna start off over here. These are one of the side panels. You're gonna go ahead and try to clean a lot of this stuff up. The paint's actually in good shape. There's just a couple little pieces of glue and sticker and just dirt and stuff on it. So we're gonna go ahead and start by cleaning this thing up and seeing if we don't have to paint it. So let's get started. People often ask what I use to clean cabs. Because they're like a plastic, I use like diluted simple green and just pieces of a magic eraser. So here's a little before shot. We'll see if we can't get some of this stuff off, but let's get scrubbing and we'll pick it up once we're done. So just to kind of show you, you can see here where the adhesive line was. So there was like a sticker from here up. These have a bunch of Star Wars stuff on it, but you can see how it doesn't really want to come off. But with the magic eraser, you can kind of get in there and it softens this line up. And then over time, the line will kind of go away. So I'm gonna keep scrubbing on this guy, use the hose here and rinse it off, try to get some of this off. Important when you're doing this kind of stuff on candies, once you get like dirty water, you really want to rinse it because the dirt kind of gets in there and it will basically become like a sandpaper. So as soon as you get a lot of this dirt, stuff like this, go ahead and rinse it off and then come back with some new simple green and a newer piece of magic eraser and get it all cleaned up. So I'm gonna rinse it off, keep it going. See how nice and clean everything's coming off? All this stuff's getting out of here. Still gotta work on this top part, but you can see a little bit of elbow grease and simple green really cleans these parts up. So we're gonna work on this top part here and keep it moving. All right, so this guy's all bathed and cleaned and everything like that. We got all the adhesive off, cleaned down in the little areas where the screws go. We are gonna have to do a little bit of touch up on this, which I'm gonna mask this off and just really probably paint this part that's affected. The paint on this is actually really nice, so I don't want to repaint the whole thing if I don't have to. So we'll do a little bit of masking here and kind of paint this. This is all just completely gone. And then this is actually surface rust, so it doesn't really want to come off. So I'm probably gonna take some sandpaper to that and just do touch up there and on these areas there. So that's one of them. Over here we still have to do the other leg. I'm gonna clean that big piece up and then we'll start masking stuff for paint. And we are gonna try to work on the coin door today too. So I got the drill. We're gonna try to drill that piece out and put some wrinkle black on it. So let's keep it moving to the next one. All right, part 2 is up and soaked. Got the simple green soaking on it. Let it sit for a couple minutes, then we're gonna start scrubbing. This one's actually in better condition than the first one, so pretty cool. Keep it moving. We also have the shmup screen running out here.
Yeah, so once you have max lives and you get extent, you get immortality.
And Switch. So gotta have some arcade stuff going while we're working on arcade stuff. All right, side panel 2, all cleaned up and bathed. This one much better shape, but there are still some areas here. It looks like the corners of these things are common for just getting beat up. So once these are all dried up, we'll mask these off and do a little bit of touch up on these guys as well. But this one turned out really, really nice. And again, it's got a little bit of this surface rust stuff on it, so we'll try to sand that off as best we can and get it back down to being clean. But on to the next piece. Luckily this one's pretty clean from the last time we scrubbed it up, but from being in the shop and cutting things and doing little modifications here and there, it is kind of a little bit dirty and some fingerprints. So we're gonna go ahead and give this one the same treatment, scrub it off and then rinse it off, make sure it's good to go. And again, when we paint, I'm gonna do a little bit of touch up. As you can see, that cut's not perfectly straight, so we'll try to toughen that stuff up. And you can see some of this surface stuff we're gonna clean off real quick, but more scrubbing, more cleaning. One thing I wanted to point out to you guys is this Megalo is actually a Ocean Hunter conversion from Sega. So you can see here how the speaker panels have this bluish color. Well, this whole thing was actually that bluish color from the factory. And basically once Star Wars Trilogy came out, Sega converted a lot of these over to Star Wars. But you can see, as we're cleaning this, we're trying to keep it as clean as possible. But you can see a lot of the little original paint is kind of showing through. So we're treating this more like a paint treatment rather than like scrubbing. But you can see here a lot of this little pitting stuff here is actually that blue paint coming through. So again, as we go through and clean stuff, we're doing our best, but we don't want to press too hard, even with these magic erasers, because you will strip some of this paint off. So just thought I'd show that to you in case anyone was wondering why we had all this blue paint on here. That is a factory option. I guess it's factory for Ocean Hunter from Sega. But a lot of these, if you ever see a Megalo with Star Wars in it, 99% chance it was originally an Ocean Hunter. But back to cleaning. So this next part actually fits here in the middle. It's the instruction panel, so it's not super bad. Paint's in pretty good shape, but as you can see, it's a little bit dirty. So we're just gonna scrub it off real quick. And then what we're gonna do is work on this. So this is the plexi, the stock original Sega plexi. And as you can see, it's a little bit cloudy. So what I wanna try, I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna try it, is it's a trick I learned on pinball ramps, where you can actually take a little like torch and put it on the plastic for like a little tiny bit, and it'll actually clear up some of the plastics. We'll see if it works on this. If not, I may just get a new piece done. This one's not terrible, it's just a little cloudy, scratched up, so we'll give it a shot and see how it comes out. But for now, let's get back to cleaning this little guy. Came out pretty dang good. Alright, on to the plexi. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and try to do a quick demo of this. So basically it's just like a little tiny like torch, and I'm going to clean this up a little bit once we start this, but basically what you do is you don't leave it on there, because if you leave this on there, it'll actually melt the plexi. But you can kind of use this almost like an eraser. So again, I don't know how well it's going to show up, but basically you take the torch, crank it on, and you kind of just, you can see the little cloud from the torch kind of go by. You just kind of use that as like a, almost like an eraser. And again, you don't leave it on there too long, but you can see it'll actually kind of clear some of it up. So once this is done, we're going to go back and we're going to notice everything, but you can kind of use it. I don't know if it's picking up on the camera. You can kind of use it as a way to basically flame polish the plastic. But again, don't leave it on there too long. But you can see how clear it is up at the top versus some of this other part here. So it actually does help a little bit at least. So we'll keep it up, and then we're going to go ahead and polish this and clean it up, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more clear plexi for that Megalo. Not perfect, but slightly better than it was, right? So some of these are actually like scratches in the glass, and we're not gonna be able to get those out, but overall, like, this thing is way cleaner and clearer than it was. So I'm pretty happy with that. On to the little control panel side skirts. Again, you see some of that blue paint peeking. We're gonna go ahead and clean these boys up. On to the speaker grills. So these are the little metal trays that go underneath the control panels. We're actually going to mount, once these are cleaned up, we're going to mount our Brook PCBs right onto these. So we're going to have everything cleaned up. We're going to have a little piece of wood mounted. I'm going to paint it, put the Brook here this way. We can easily drop this panel underneath the control panel, work on the PCB, change buttons, do all we need to do. So as you can see, these guys are pretty dirty. Not too bad, but they just need to be cleaned up. So on to scrubbing these guys. All right, so sadly, these things are actually a little worse than I thought they were. They don't look that bad, but there's a lot of little like surface rust areas, especially here on the inside of them. So this stuff obviously is not going to clean off, and this will probably never get worse than it is. But when we do our touch up, I'm just going to go ahead and touch these up as well and try to fix some of this stuff up and just get it clean. So this way we have a good thing to mount our PCB boards to. But kind of bummed about that, but it could be worse. Again, this one's actually kind of pretty bad, all this little surface rust stuff. As you can see, they're clean, it's just that's all a little pitting and surface rust. So we'll clean all that junk up, sand it, and then paint it once we do our touch up. All right, so in the continuing theme of cleaning, we are gonna go ahead and open this subwoofer up. So I have no idea what's in this, outside of dirt. It does say the rating here. So it looks like it's 4 ohms, 60 watt subwoofer. We're gonna go ahead and pull all these back screws off, clean everything up, and see if it's salvageable. And if it is, we can go ahead and use this little wire harness here and kind of add it to our, go from 2.0 to 2.1, I guess, back on our seat. So let's go ahead and get this thing open and we'll see what's inside of it. All right, so we have everything off. I have not opened this thing yet, so let's see what it is. We're doing this together. Oh wow, it's surprisingly look how clean this is in here. I was not expecting that. I was expecting this to be eaten out and full of garbage and just disgusting, but we have our little sound from that's actually cool. Yeah, so we can totally use that. Well, that's good news. We'll go ahead and clean this thing up and zip this back together and use it. How freaking cool is that? Well, not expecting to see such clean, oh, it's kind of dark in there. Such clean perfection in there. But speaker looks fine. So we'll throw an amp on it and test it, make sure it's good. But put this back together. 3PO's joining the video here. This is just kind of to follow up on this. This is the subwoofer, and even though we cleaned it up, it had this like chalky, almost like cloudy finish to it, and this kind of stuff here. So I noticed that if I use some like orange oil, or I'm actually using the like Pledge revitalizing oil stuff, this actually gets rid of this stuff, and it actually brings like a shine back to it. So I don't know if you can see that. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish just doing this whole thing and cleaning this whole thing up with this revitalizing oil and see if it actually helps with making this a little bit shiny again. Yeah, this is working incredibly well. So you can see here, the part that hasn't been treated versus the part that has. And the cool thing is it's not really like greasy or oily, and it also smells like oranges. So pretty cool. We'll finish it up. You want to be in the video more, buddy? How you doing? All right, as you can see, the revitalizing oil did its job. It revitalized a dirty subwoofer box, but you can see how shiny it is. Everything's clean. Looking pretty amazing. All right, guys, so this is gonna wrap up this episode. You can see all the tools and stuff we used today, but basically we have our side panels done. This is our subwoofer. We got our two little like bottom side templates. These are our speaker shrouds, and here's what we worked on today. Kind of cleaning all this stuff up, and I really hope this stuff kind of picks up on film, but this thing was absolutely gross just from being in the shop and just being gross from before, but it really cleaned up nice. It's super shiny and clean and making me excited to get more progress done on this thing. But this is going to wrap it up for today. As always, guys, I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me as we go through this process. It's a long process, and a lot of times it's not fun, kind of like this episode. Really, we're just doing more cleaning. So it does make you feel better about seeing how well everything's going to turn out, but it's just a lot of time sitting there scrubbing stuff, cleaning it, wiping it off. I do want to show you next episode, we are going to be working on this, which is the coin door for the Megalo. And it's just a standard, it looks like a hap, I'm not 100% sure, it's just an over-under, it's got the 2 mechs and everything. Now obviously this isn't going to be using coin mechs, but we are going to be drilling a hole right here for a little USB pass-through that it's going to allow people to plug in their hitboxes and joysticks if they don't want to use the actual control panel. But as you can see, this thing's rough. We got a lot of work to do to sand it, and we are going to wrinkle black it. We're going to put new locks and everything in it as well. But that will be for the next episode. But again, guys, as always, I appreciate you hanging out and sticking with me as we get through this process. It's getting closer to being done. Now, obviously, we'll have a big reveal video when we kind of go through everything. We'll probably stream it too. But thank you guys as always, and we'll see you on the next one.